I felt as if a lot of this situation had been imposed on me, which made me feel extremely negative. I wasn't in a good place at all, and couldn't see a way out of it, couldn't see any light, if you like, at the end of the tunnel. The story started back in 1976 with my first teaching role in Glasgow. I was a primary teacher based in an area of Glasgow that was particularly challenging. Then a particular interest for working with children for whom English wasn't their first language. What I found was that the children were going home with their reading books, and for these children they've been actually progressing quite quickly. However, not as you would expect, because obviously their mothers were either Punjabi or Hindu speakers or Cantonese speakers, and weren't able to support their children. So I opened my classroom doors way back then. It was quite innovative. And I opened my classroom doors and brought the mothers into the classroom. I think the main difference for me was that I realised adults will vote with their feet. You know, they're not the same as the children, as the captive audience, if you like, in a classroom. You have to get it right for them, as in that individual. You know, adults not necessarily always operate particularly well in a group setting. So there was a whole change to my thought processes in terms of teaching. I worked there for quite some time and then left to have my first son, then had my second son, and decided that perhaps full-time mothering wasn't necessarily for me, and went back into supply teaching, which progressed then into further education, teaching adults, some university work, and now it's not full circle, but I think I've just about touched base in every type of education, because I'm now working within the community. The motivational driver to make me go back to study was I had moved from working in the primary sector and I was now working in a large further education college. My colleagues were very keen to ask, and what degree do you have? I felt that I kept saying that I was a primary teacher, which usually brought on very different responses. How on earth was a primary teacher ever going to survive in this adult further education environment? The timing couldn't have been worse. I had just lost my father. And my mother was still pretty good. She helped me out quite a wee bit with childcare. My marriage had broken down. And really, if I think back, I should have done that sort of real proper damage limitation and said, maybe leave this for a bit of time. However, I didn't. I decided if I don't do it now, I might never do it. After maybe about 2 years after doing the MEd, I thought, maybe it's time to go back. And I was already doing some sort of academic writing and thought, I maybe need to formalise this a bit. So, signed up for an education doctorate, and I quite liked the idea. I liked the idea of being Dr. Sangster. And then it wasn't totally what I expected. I was deemed not to be political enough. And I even was questioning things like, some feminist type arguments. So I walked away from it. I finished the first part of my research and then came out with another master's degree in adult education. At the same time that was happening, my post was no longer viable. I would be about 61. And for some people, they may have thought, 61, what's your problem? Retire, play golf, do some knitting, perhaps. I just couldn't see myself in any of those roles. For the first few months, I didn't have a perspective at all. And when I was in such a dark place, I actually couldn't see any way out. I couldn't see any light, if you like, at the end of the tunnel. Well, that light was a friend. She phoned me and she said, I hear you're not actually doing anything. You're sitting in the house watching television, eating a pack of digestive biscuits a day. She said, well, I need you. And that was the trigger point, somebody saying, I need you. Somebody who probably, she did, value your skills and value you as an individual. And she said, I need you to come and sort out something, which brought me to Ayrshire College and brought me down to this area to come down and work with some challenging classes down here, back teaching, back standing in the classroom. The digestives were put back in the cupboard, the mascara was brought out, the roots were done, the rest is history.